Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about the beginning stages of design thinking, empathy and define. In order to do that, we're going to have to start talking about empathy first, but this is the part that you need to understand. Why do we keep talking about empathy? Why do we need to understand customers better? Well, before, like 18th centuries, 19th centuries, 20th centuries, we didn't really have to think about how to act quickly toward the customer's needs change. They spend years and years for developing a certain product, business model, and once they develop it, it goes on for a certain period of time, a couple of years, maybe more, dozens of years. But now we're going to have to act quickly because customers are changing too rapidly. And another one, and the competition got much harder. There are a lot of companies that want to try to enter the market and try to solve the problems that customers have. So what we really need to do is to find something that other people cannot think of and solve the problems, satisfy the needs of customers in an innovative way. The first way to do that, the best way to do that, is have insights about what customers really need and find unarticulated needs of customers. We are going to define that in a little bit better way a little bit later, but okay, throughout this entire lecture, you're going to have to keep this in mind. Unarticulated needs. If we can find it, and we can start talking about how to solve the problem and satisfy that need. So we start with the empathy. We usually say there are three kinds of empathies. One is cognitive empathy, and the other is emotional, and the last one is compassionate. Cognitive empathy is about, hey, I know what you're thinking. And the emotional, as you can tell, yeah, I know what you're feeling. The last one is compassionate empathy. It pretty much says acting upon what the other person is thinking and feeling with their interest at heart, not yours. What that means is, as soon as you understand what the customers really need, then you can find out how to solve the problem, how to satisfy their needs. So we use insight about customers' unarticulated, unmet needs to define new business opportunities. I said that already, but think about this. Okay, when I was going through this econ classes, business classes, they are talking about the market demand, customer demands, and what they want. Okay, what are the differences between these unarticulated needs? Do we need to focus on customer needs or customer wants? A lot of people are confused about this notion. Now take a look at this one. His name is Theodore Levitt, the one professor that I really admire. This is what he said. People do not want to buy a quarter-inch drill. They want a quarter-inch hole on the wall. Now, about the same thing, Henry Ford once said, if I asked my customers about what they wanted, then they would have said, a faster running horse. If that was the case, Henry Ford never would have built a car. Now let's think about what Theodore Levitt says here. What people want, the reason I buy a drill is because I want to make a hole on the wall. So what I need is an effective way to make a hole on the wall. Very accurate quarter-inch hole. Not exactly fancy looking drill. It's just a tool to achieve what I want, what I need. Once you understand that, you can actually get to the bottom of the problems and try to solve it. If you look at, oh, people want to buy a drill, I'd like to make a better drill, then you are not exactly focusing on what customers need. That's why we need to, now let's go back one slide. We gather information through empathy, and we somehow find the insight. And we find that insight by having that problem point of view statement. Finding this POV statement will give you idea about what really needs to happen. Now, if you look at this picture, there's a user There's a need, it's hidden behind. You cannot really see it right away. But as you gather this information, as you accumulate intelligence, you go, wait a minute, that's what they needed. What they wanted was not a quarter-inch drill. What they wanted was quarter-inch hole. If I can find a way to make that hole very effectively without using a drill, that's your business model, that's your product, and that's your service. So we call that an aha moment. And in design thinking, we like that a lot. If you want to do that, you have to go through certain steps of this empathy. It's very simple: observe, engage, and immerse. And actually those words mean everything. The first stage is you observe. You watch them. You look at them. You just watch what they do. In a real life situation, not like in a lab or anything. You see them in daily lives and see they feel, find out what they're trying to think and see and hear. That's observe stage. Then you have this questionnaire about, wait a minute, why do they work this way? Why do they act in certain ways? Then you go out there and engage with them, ask them questions, interview them, interact with them. Then you find a little more about what's really going on. And next stage is immerse. Be a part of it. Not just talk with them, become one of them. Think like them, act like them, and find out what really needs to happen. So we use various methodologies. What, how, and why, extreme users, why, how, lettering. All these are just the methodologies. You don't have to know everything about this. And you can just find the information on the internet. It's not something very highly intelligent method. Wait a minute, I take it back. It's an intelligent method, but it doesn't require high-level training. Once you take a look at it, just practice a couple of times, you can actually do it. My personal favorites are empathy map and journey map because they are easy, intuitive. But at the same time, some people have different preferences over these methodologies. I don't have to tell you all about it. You can just look it up. What you need to understand is not one by one the details of this methodology. What you need to understand why you are using this. So I'll just do this midway recap. We use empathy, all these methodologies to gather information about customers. And we narrow it down to one or two statements and find one problem. And at that point, we come up with an insight that tells you about unarticulated needs of the customers. Once you do that, then you go into an ideation stage. So in empathy stage, you gather as much information as possible. And this is the same thing that we say about solution is not in your office. Go out there. We're going to talk about this later as well. This is what we are going to do. Go talk with the customers. Go watch them. Find out as much as possible. If you haven't done that yet, you have to do it now. If you have done it already, do it more. Oh, wait a minute, do I have to do exactly the same thing that I did before? No. Create something, prototype, MVP, whatever you want to call it. Hold something, go out there, let them use it, get the feedback, go from there. Now, this is the technique that I use frequently, and I want you to be a master of it. And this is the common denominator of a lot of methodologies used in design thinking, agile, and all the other methods. And this is pretty much what we do. And the name for that is clustering. Now, okay, this is what we are going to do. Each member of the team just keeps talking. We just keep generating ideas. We just put post-its on the wall, and we have bits and pieces of words, phrases, statements, sentences, and we have this scattered information. What we do is we put them into certain categories by the theme. And with this theme, we match make and we connect the dots with a whole bunch of other information in different categories. And in the end, what we have, statements. So let's see this again. We keep generating ideas not in a complete sentence because we don't know exactly what we are trying to say either. We just keep generating ideas, and other people keep adding ideas onto what you are saying. So we have bits and pieces of ideas, hundreds and thousands of them. And then we put them into orders. We do the grouping. And then we connect the dots and we come up with the statements. As you can see from the colors of these statements, that is not created by what one person said. It's a combination of what a lot of people say that each team member can agree. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Yeah, that's the point that I wanted to convey to you. Once you do that, when you have 3 or 4 statements like that, you have a starting point. Well, I don't really know how to do that. Yes, now, get this. You cannot learn how to ride a bicycle by watching a YouTube video. You cannot learn how to play golf by reading a book. You actually have to go out and do it and practice over and over and over, and once you get it, then you won't forget. This, including all the other methodologies that we are going to talk about regarding design thinking, agile, and everything else, same principles apply. You cannot learn how to do this by watching this video. You cannot learn how to do that. You cannot master them by reading a book. You just have to go out there and do it. However, you need to have one thing in mind. You have to understand one thing. Why am I doing this? I need to understand what customers need, and I need to do it in a very short cycle. Get something, build something, talk with the customers again, analyze it, learn, make my prototype MVP better, and keep doing this. Iterate the process and keep making it better until you go, wow, now it's ready for the market. People can actually buy it. Once you do that, just keep doing it until you actually get it right. Once you generate this huge amount of ideas about customers, you need to put that into one sentence, a written, actionable statement that expresses the problem that the team is trying to address. That is called a POV statement, point of view statement. Crafting a POV statement is a central purpose of the define stage of design thinking. That's what you want to do. That's why we have this entire stage. Create a POV statement. And usually it's written in this way: user, needs, insight. Such and such customers need this to happen because ABC. It is written this way. In order to come up with that one statement, you go through this entire empathy stage. When you have a POV statement, you can keep the focus narrow. You can frame the challenge as a problem statement. And you can use them to evaluate competing ideas and make them actionable. POV statements will guide your innovation efforts and provide inspiration for your team. That's a little bit like a high-level statement, but you will get it at some point. Now the thing is, that simple statement is more important than months and months of empathy and information gathering. We usually do that in one workshop. Yes, okay, let's put everything that you have about customers, let's put it together, and then let's go through this empathy map and the journey map. Well, usually it takes a little bit longer time. It's a preparation period because you keep talking with them, you observe them, and you gather information about them, you put that into perspective, such and such. And after that, days and weeks and months of preparation, after that, you just have to put that into one POV statement. If you get it right, then you can move on to ideation stage. So, here's the deal. A lot of people think that empathy is a very important part of design thinking, which is true. That is so true. But without this POV statement, without the insight, without aha moment, all those time that you spent on empathy may not be as valuable. So please use whatever methodology you can use to gather information about customers, empathize with them. Try to find unarticulated needs of the customers. But whatever your finding might be, put that into one statement and make everything that you do from that point on actionable. Without this statement, you may get lost somewhere in the middle, and you may not be able to accomplish as much as you may think at the time. Okay, that's it for empathy and define. We are going to talk about ideation in the next lecture. Thank you very much.